guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and happy 2024. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this off the shoulder dress, and I've seen it in Fashionnova and I've also seen it on Pinterest, so let's get started. These are all the supplies that we're going to be using to make our dress, and the first item is going to be a pattern paper. The second item is going to be a fabric of your choice, and make sure that it's stretch fabric. Mine is a 4-way stretch. The third item is going to be matching thread. The fourth item is going to be a curved ruler and a straight ruler. The fifth item is going to be some scissors. The sixth item is going to be tape measure. And the last item is going to be a fabric marker. These are all the measurements that we're going to use to make the dress, and as you can see, for the horizontal measurement I deducted 1 inch, and that's because I'm using a very stretchy fabric. If you're not using a very stretchy fabric, you can just leave your measurement as is, and then you're not going to add any allowances. We're going to start by making a pattern for our dress, and the first step is going to be taking a pattern paper and you're going to fold it in half, and this is the fold line. Then we're going to take a tape measure and we're going to mark 2.5 inches down from the top of our pattern paper, so go ahead and do that. After that, we're going to mark this line as our chest line, so I'm going to go ahead and write that down. Next step, we're going to be marking our chest to bust measurement, and mine is 4 inches, so I'm going to be marking 4 inches from the chest line, so go ahead and mark your chest to bust measurement as well. And we're going to be marking this line as our bust line, so go ahead and do that. Next step, we're going to be marking our chest to waist measurement, and mine is 12 inches, so I'm going to be marking 12 inches from the chest line. And we're going to mark this line as our waistline, so please ignore me writing chest line, okay? I'm gonna change that. Next step, we're going to be marking our waist to hips measurement, and mine is 9 inches, so I'm going to mark 9 inches from the waistline, so go ahead and mark your waist to hips measurements, and we're going to mark this line as the hip line. Next step, we're going to be marking our chest to desired length, and mine is about 55 inches because it's a floor length, so go ahead and mark your chest to desired length. I went ahead and marked my chest to desired length of camera, and I've marked it as my skirt length line. So now we're going to start by marking our horizontal measurement, and on the chest line I'm going to be marking 8 inches, which is a quarter of my chest measurement. On the bust line, we're going to be marking a quarter of our bust measurement, and mine is 8 inches, so I'm going to mark that as well. Next step, on the waistline, we're going to be marking a quarter of our waist measurement, and mine is 6.2 inches, so I'm going to mark 6.2 inches on the waistline. After marking our quarter waist measurement, next we're going to be marking a quarter of our hips measurement, and mine is 9 inches, so I'm going to be marking 9 inches on the hip line. Lastly, we're going to be marking on our skirt length, and I'm going to be pulling my pattern paper down, and on the skirt length line I'm going to be marking my quarter hips measurement, which was 9 inches, and that's what we're going to use on the skirt length line, so we're going to be using the same measurement for our hips. Next step, we're going to be connecting all the marks together, and I'm going to be taking a straight ruler to connect my bust to waist measurement. Then we're going to connect our waist to hips measurement with a curved ruler. And next we're going to connect our hips to skirt length line with a straight ruler. connecting our hip line to skirt length line. Next, we're going to be working on our armhole, and first on the chest line, we're going to be marking about 2 inches up from that mark. And after that, we're going to take a straight ruler and connect the 2 marks together from the chest line. And I'm also going to be connecting the chest line to the bust line. On the chest line, we're going to mark 3 inches in, and that's to create our armhole. Next, I'm going to be drawing a straight line from the 2-inch mark. And from there, we're going to be marking 3 inches as we did on the chest line. And last step, we're going to connect this mark to the bust line, and we're going to be using a curved ruler. Next step, we're going to be cutting out our pattern, and we're not going to cut the armhole yet, and you'll see why later. I'm going to cut from here all the way to the skirt length line and at the top. After cutting, we're going to go ahead and open our pattern paper. And after that, we're going to transfer all the lines to the other side. After we've transferred all the lines, the next step is going to be marking a line from this mark all the way to the chest line, and we're going to be using our curved ruler to do so. And after drawing the line, we're going to be taking our tape measure or ruler, and we're going to mark 1/2 inch allowance from that. And after marking the allowance, we're going to be taking our scissors and we're going to cut it out. And now we're going to be cutting the armhole. After you've cut the armhole, please don't throw this little piece. We're going to use it to make our sleeve. To make our front slit, we're going to take a tape measure and we're going to measure from our waist to where we want our slit to start. And you can decide to measure from your hips to that part as well. I'm going to use my hips. So now we're going to be making the side slit, and I'm going to pull my pattern paper down till the hip line. From the hip line, I'm going to be marking 8 inches down, and that's where my slit is going to start. So go ahead and mark that on your pattern paper. Next step, we're going to determine where we're going to be placing our slit, and my armhole is on the left side, so I'm going to be marking my slit on the right side. And if your armhole is on the right side, then you're going to mark your slit on the left side. But for me, my armhole is on the left, so I'll mark on the right. So now we're going to determine where we're going to be carving the dress, and it's going to start on the right all the way to the left. So on the fold line of our dress, when we had folded it in half, we're going to be taking our straight ruler and we're going to measure the side, the half side of the left side, and whatever you get, you're going to divide that by 2, and then you're going to mark. And after marking that point, we're going to draw a curved line from here all the way to the mark, and you can just use your hand to do so. I'm going to do that as well. And after drawing the curve, you're going to add 1/2 inch allowance, and then you're going to go ahead and cut it out. This is how our pattern looks, and we're going to be cutting it out on fabric, and we're going to be cutting 2 pieces out of it, so you'll have the front and the back. And And here is the dress, and as you can see, I've cut two pieces out of it, so you have the front and the back, and we're going to put this aside and we're going to make a sleeve. To make our sleeve, we're going to take our fabric and we're going to fold it in half, and then we're going to take our tape measure and we're going to mark 1 inch down from the top of the fabric. And then after that, we're going to be marking 7 inches down from that line. After that, we're going to be marking half of our bicep measurement, and mine is 6 inches, so I'm going to be marking 6 inches on that line, and I'm going to continue marking 6 inches all the way. And after that, I'm going to add half an inch allowance to the bottom and half an inch to the top. After we've added our allowances, next step we're going to be taking this little piece that we cut out from our armhole and we're going to be placing it right on this edge, and then we're going to trace around it. And after tracing, we're going to go ahead and cut it out from here, here, and all the way here. And by the way guys, we are only making one sleeve. We're going to start by sewing our sleeve, and I'm going to be sewing on this side with a 1/2 inch sewing allowance, and because we are sewing with stretch, we're going to be using a zigzag stitch. I'm going to be using the narrowest one, which is 16. So now we're going to be sewing our dress, and I've placed them together with the right sides facing each other, and then I'm going to be pinning the sides, and I'm going to start from here all the way down, and I'm going to start pinning from here all the way to here. After pinning, we're going to sew from here all the way to the skirt length and from here to here with a 1/2 inch sewing allowance, and we are still using a zigzag stitch. After we've sewn the two sides together, next we're going to be sewing our sleeve to the dress, and we're going to do that by placing them together with the right sides facing each other, and then we're going to pin and sew with a 1/2 inch sewing allowance. After we've sewn on our sleeve, next we're going to be taking our tape measure, and we're going to be measuring from this end to this end. After measuring, you're going to cut two rectangles with the length of the measurement that you got plus 1 inch allowance, and the width is going to be 8 inches. Here are the two pieces that I cut out, and I'm going to be placing them together with the right sides facing each other, and then I'm going to pin on both sides. And after pinning, I'm going to sew here and here with a 1/2 inch sewing allowance, and we're still using a zigzag stitch. After sewing this piece, next step we're going to be folding it over in half, and make sure that you match up the seams so that they don't get bulky. So open up the seams a little bit and then fold it over. And then you're going to place the folded edge to the wrong side of the dress, and then you're going to go ahead and pin it, and make sure that you match up the side seams together. And we're going to be pinning it on the wrong side because after we are done sewing, we're going to flip it to the right side, and now we're going to sew all around with a 1/2 inch sewing allowance, and we are still using a zigzag stitch. So next I'm going to be trimming down the excess allowance, and you can do this, or you can go ahead and use an overlocker to finish off the seams, or you can use a zigzag stitch. Next step, we're going to be making ruffles for the dress, and I folded the fabric in half, and the measurement for the fabric is going to be 28 inches by 28 inches. Next, we're going to be marking the midpoint of our 28 by 28 inches, and that's going to be 14 inches, and I'm going to be marking 14 inches. Then you're going to draw a connecting line from the midpoint, and from here all the way here is 28 inches, and from here all the way here is 28 with a midpoint of 14. So next step, we're going to be marking 3 inches from the midpoint all the way down on this line, and then we're also going to repeat on all the other lines. And after that, we're going to connect all the points together, making a circle. Then on this side, instead of it being straight, I'm going to make it a little bit curved. And then from that mark, I'm going to continue marking 3 inches, and I'm going to be marking 3 inches all around. So you're going to go round and round and round. So this is how it looks after I'm done, and as you can see, it's a spiral, and then when you reach the end, just draw a line like this. And then after that, we are going to go ahead and take our scissors and we are going to cut it out. And this is how it looks after we've cut it out, and as you can see, the ruffles have already formed. So now we're going to sew this onto our dress. So here is our dress, and before you sew on the ruffles, make sure that you hem the bottom of your dress if you're doing so. For me, I'm not gonna do that because this fabric doesn't fray. So next, we're going to be placing our ruffles on this side, and you're going to leave just a little bit hanging, and then you're going to pin the rest all around. And you're going to be placing the ruffles with the right sides facing each other, okay? And after that, pin it in place. After we've pinned the ruffle to the dress, next step, we're going to be measuring how long this is, the leftover piece, the one that will be hanging, so that we can cut the other piece on the other side because it's quite long and we need to use the other piece for our sleeve. So now I'm going to be taking my tape measure and I'm going to measure the hanging piece, and after measuring I got 9 inches, and you can make it shorter or longer if you like. And then I'm going to be measuring 9 inches from this other side, and then I'm going to cut it out. And now we're going to keep this piece for the sleeve, okay? So now we're going to sew our ruffles to the dress, and we're going to sew all around with a 3/8 of an inch sewing allowance. So now we're going to be attaching our ruffle to our sleeve, and I've folded my ruffles in half, and this side is the folded end, and on the folded edge we're going to be taking our ruler and we're going to mark 1/2 inch from the fold line, and on the other side we're going to mark where the sleeve ends, like so. And then we're going to draw a straight line, and from the folded edge I'm going to be marking 1/2 inch down, and then at the bottom I'm going to be taking my ruler and I'm going to be marking 2 inches from the folded end, and then we're going to connect the 1/2 inch mark with the 2 inch mark with a curved line, and then we're going to cut it out. And make sure you don't cut all the way through, you're going to be cutting from the 2 inch to the 1/2 inch, okay? On this other end, we're going to be marking half an inch down, and we're going to sew from here to the half an inch. So here I'm sewing the ruffles to the sleeve, and guys, I'm really sorry I lost the footage of how I attached the ruffle to the sleeve. You just need to attach it by placing the right sides facing each other, and then you're going to sew with the half inch sewing allowance, and that's it. Here is the finished dress, and oh my gosh, this turned out so good. I love the ruffles. I think they're a cute addition to the dress. Honestly, I'm in love with this. This dress is giving what it's supposed to give, and I think this is going to be a very cute dress for Valentine. Let me know what you think. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye and God bless.